All right. First want to give you the reason for putting this together is I want to make sure that I get communicated to, or I want to make sure that we all get on the same page, or at least understand the reasoning why I may be on one page and others may be on another page. But I want to make sure that we all think about this, because this message getting to our contractors and what I'm seeing out there with our contractors is messed up. And I'll make akin to this as a Frank Blau in 1990, or when Frank started his business contracting webinars and seminars, he's preaching how to create the proper selling price. Okay, and that was almost like mind opening to most contractors, as they knowing the difference between markup and margin at that point. And that was just the start of it, right? And Frank was so passionate about getting this out there, this message out there. It's basically changed the industry. Now that I see something happening in our industry right now that I just assumed was being done correctly. And the more and more I'm looking into it and diving into it, the more and more I'm seeing that contractors don't have a clue. And I want to make sure that we all have a clue and that we're on the same page. And this is meant for the coaches and for the training team, so that we can design this message to make sure that we're protecting our customers, our customers being the members. Make sure we're giving them the right information. And this is what I believe is the right information, because I believe it was taught by an industry guy just like a Frank Blau. Now, it's more based on just specific service agreements when I talk about this gentleman. This gentleman's name was Ron Smith, and he created the first service agreement. And I'll get into that here in a little bit. But the thought process of what service agreements are about, and what's included in a service agreement, and what's not included in a service agreement, and why, and then how to price a service agreement and why. Ron had this philosophy, just like Frank Blau, it's got to be priced right? And you got to understand what you're delivering in your service agreements. So it's not just a marketing tool that I see being used out there without the thought of revenue generation. And there's an underlying piece in this that has just been dropped and has been a giveaway for so many years without anybody understanding why they're even giving it away. It starts again, somebody did it, so now it's the blind leading the blind on service agreements. And I want to make sure that we're not the blind ones out there, and we're communicating this service agreement process properly to our members. So that's the reason for this. So please bear with me. I have no idea how long this is going to take. I did develop 49 slides to take us through. So if you got to pause this right now, get a cup of coffee or bathroom break, go ahead. Here it goes. I'm going to get started on it. So service agreements. Do you really know why you're presenting a service agreement? Or are you just faking it? That's my thought process on this. I'll see if I can figure out how to change this screen now. Will that do it? Nope. Page down. Will that do it? Nope. I guess I got to click it. Okay, let me click it. Does that do it? Yeah, there it goes. Okay. So, why service agreements? Reason number 2 for having a service agreement is to lock in customers. And too many times, our contractors are thinking that's reason number 1. It's not reason number 1. It's reason number 2. Okay? Reason number 1. Predictable cash flow is the reason for the service agreement. When it's priced properly, and we understand the components that are going into each service agreement that we're offering, predictable cash flow is the key here, right? So how do you price a service agreement? I'm not a PowerPoint guy, but hang on with me. So I'll go into that real quick. Okay, how to set pricing for a service agreement? Identify what services you will be providing. Are you going to offer just a system check only? Or are you going to offer a system check and a cleaning? Notice I highlighted the cleaning in green. Because here's the piece that contractors are missing. The cleaning is the most predictable outcome of every service agreement. The cleaning is the predictability here of revenue. This is a task. Cleaning is a task. There's time included in tasks as a flat rate task. Therefore, there should be a price for a cleaning. Okay? So doing a system check is the same thing as doing a thorough evaluation of the system, is the same thing as doing the explore step in our service system, and a system check. All three of those things are the same thing. Okay? I think I talk about that here later, but I may be jumping the gun. But the key here is the reason we use system check is because it's a marketing piece for our customers. Ms. Jones, it's time for your system check. It's not like we can call the customer up and say, Ms. Jones, it's time for your explore step, or it's time for your thorough evaluation of your system. What we do is a system check. System check and thorough evaluation of the system are exactly the same thing. Okay? And we just happen to coin it our explore step in the service system. So all three of those mean the same thing. Okay? I want to make sure we're clear about that. So in the system check, that is just what we do. That's what we're doing to uncover and find options for our customer. Okay? The cleaning is one of those pieces that we uncover and find. And it's the most predictable thing that's going to happen every time. Okay? Replacing a motor is not predictable. Replacing a contactor is not predictable. Turning a lead over is not predictable 100% of the time. Whereas cleaning is predictable 100% of the time. I'm going to pause right there because I want you to think about that. A cleaning is an option 100% of the time. So think about this. You clean your house once a week. Is it reasonable to clean your house, the inside of your house, every 26 weeks? Is that air flowing through there 24/7 every 26 weeks? Now, it may be the definition of cleaning that we need to understand. If we wait until there's a beard of dust, that's a neglected cleaning. However, if we clean it every 26 weeks, it won't create a beard of dust. It'll prevent a system from failing. A cleaning is an essential piece of the service that we offer for the preventativeness of a system breakdown. So offering a cleaning goes right in line with what the value that we offer. We're helping the customer keep the life of their system for as long as we can. Okay? So the cleaning piece here is a task. I want to make sure we're clear about that. Let's go. So how do we price? How do we set pricing for service agreements? Identify what services you will be providing. Both are great practices here. Doing just a system check or during a system check and a cleaning. If you're offering just a system check in your service agreement, fantastic. If you're offering a system check and a cleaning in your service agreement, fantastic. Okay? Both are great practices as long as you understand the following, and here's the history lesson behind that. And this is the part that when I met Ron Smith in 1992, and y'all can chuckle now, but it's the honest to God truth, because it's when I started my HVAC side of the business. So, history lesson, 36 years ago, it's 2016 now, we're talking about 1908 or 1980, right? Ronald Reagan years. Okay. Ron Smith created the first HVAC service agreement. He created predictable cash flow pricing model when he created his first service agreements. And I don't know if all you know about it, but I learned from the service agreements because it was what Frank Blau was using at the time. And that's how I understand the pricing model, is because he explained it to me. Okay? And so did Ron Smith. When I met Ron Smith, he explained it to me too, so I'm getting ready to explain it to you guys. Ron had 3 age levels for his service agreements. Okay? One was the gold, and one was a silver, and another one was a bronze. So the gold sold for $397, 1980 pricing 36 years ago, for systems that were 1 to 5 years old that qualified for the gold system. So why was that? Manufacturers covered equipment for the first 5 years back then. So there was no opportunity for repairs because it was all warranty work if there was any problems in the first 5 years. There were 0 opportunities for repairs. I just stated that. Priced in predictable cash flow for 2 visits by offering a predictable systems need. That predictable systems need was for cleaning service, along with the system check, also known as our thorough evaluation of the system, right? So that's the thought process that went behind the pricing this gold system, is he knew he had to cash flow these visits. And the cash flow piece here was the cleaning portion. And he was charging $397, or almost $400. So $200 a visit is what he was getting for cleanings. And understand, 36 years ago. So are we even getting close to that today? Anyways, I digress. His second one was a silver agreement. $297 for 5-year-old systems. 5 to 10-year-old systems that qualified for the service agreement. So it was basically $300. It was $100 less. Why? Manufacturer's equipment covered the first 5 years. There's now new opportunity for equipment that's over 5 years old. So he lowered the price. He's now getting $150 a cleaning, because now new opportunity has entered the game as for replacements of parts. Okay? But he still has plugged in here cash flow 36 years ago pricing of $150 for cleaning the system twice a year. And he's going to make upside on the replacements of the parts. So, priced in, I get ahead of myself in these slides, sorry. Priced in the predictable cash flow for 2 visits by offering a predictable systems need for cleaning service. He priced in the cleaning service because the system is dirty. It's predictable. Dirt's going to be there. There is no 100% filter. Not even the medical filters are completely 100%. Along with the system check, also known as a thorough evaluation. So some of this is repetitive, but that's okay. So reduce the prices on the cleaning due to the new opportunities for repairs is the main reason why the pricing of this went down. So there was a thought process behind his pricing. And it is a thought process to understand that the business still needs the cash flow to survive during this process. So then he had a $99, a bronze agreement. And that was for systems that were over 10 years old. So why? Why was it $99 for everything over 10 years? Systems over 10 years are ripe for replacement, did not front load cleanings in order to keep customers in the service agreement. Instead of polishing a rusty old vehicle, he basically lowered the price to keep them in to do a system check because it was ripe for replacements at that point. He understood that thought process. Understand that these are for systems over 10 years old, $99. How many of our guys are selling service agreements and offering the cleanings with their service agreements today for the same thing, which is asinine? Okay? It's just absolutely stupid, ridiculous. Can't happen. However, offering cleaning options with all the visits. So it's $99 for the system, for the system checks, basically just offering system checks with this, and then offering a cleaning option with all the visits on these service agreements. Cleanings were priced at $150 a visit. Again, 30, should say 36, but it says 35 years ago. Okay? So just want to make sure we're understanding the cash flow that's happening here for this cleaning piece. So now that we know the history and the why and the how we're doing it, we've got predictable cash flow pricing. Now think about this for a second. Every service technician needs about 500 service agreements if there's 2 visits on a service agreement. All right? So if there's 2 visits on a service agreement, that's 1,000 visits. So that's 4 calls a day for 250 days out of the year. So 500 service agreements per technician with 2 visits. If it's only 1 visit, then they're going to need 1,000 service agreements per technician. So all of this is just math, folks. The predictability here, let's do the math together. If we're getting $200 a system for a cleaning twice a year, that's $400 a year on cleanings. For 15 years, that's $6,000 in cash flow, because really there is no material in cleanings. That's per customer, $6,000, okay, for 15 years. Well, let's think about it for 1 year. A technician runs 1,000 service calls. We're collecting $200 a cleaning on the service call. 1,000 times 200, that's $200,000 per HVAC service tech, which is very reasonable. Now, understand that add those 1,000, he's probably going to run 70% of those, because you're not going to be able to get a hold of 30% of those customers. All right? So that's going to bring his revenue down to $140,000. However, he's also going to have opportunity for repairs, because that was just cleaning revenue. So can he get 60 grand in repairs? Let's say he can. You're back up to 200,000. And at the same time, some of those are going to be turned into system replacements. Okay? If they're evenly lined out, it's going to be about 20% of those. So another 20%. So they're going to do 100. If that's the case, if 20% are going to be turned over to leads, which very few contractors are doing right now, but I do think that the change in the HVAC service system is actually helping that along, and we're seeing that. So I want to thank the training group for jumping on that. The key here is the generation of cash flow is important. There's $120,000 using the model of 20% lead generation and only capturing 70% of those customers. Okay, you're going to generate $120,000. Let's say you get the other $60,000 now in service repairs. So you're at 180, but now you've got 20% of those calls are turned into leads. So when you think of that, the revenue that a technician is generating is close to $500,000 because of the leads that he's turning over as well. Now, he's contributing to total sales. Now, what he's bringing in himself is about $180,000. Okay? So $180,000 to $200,000 is a good number for a service technician when you're thinking about this. So I want to make sure that, but without the cleanings, you can't hit that first $120,000. So now you're down below $100,000 a service technician. And when you see your service technicians around $100,000, you bet you they don't understand their service agreements. And I see that all the time. All right, so what was this thing here? Okay, so this is how he priced it out. This is Ron Smith's model for the gold, silver, bronze program, and many of you may already know about this agreement. Okay, so how to properly structure your service agreements, giving your company predictable cash flow. This is what we need to be focused on for our members and get them to understand. What questions do you have right now? If you do have questions about this, please write them down, pause this, write them down so that I can get it out, because I want to make sure that this is designed, this is the first attempt to starting to get some training happening on this, but I want to make sure that the message gets right and we get everybody's input on here. So this isn't I don't want this to be a Jim Hamilton thing, and if there's a debate on this, we need to have this debate and understand this going forward. But I'm laying out the pricing structure as how it was created in 1980, because Ron Smith was the grandfather of service agreements and had the same thought process as Frank Blau did in pricing these things correctly. Okay, so service agreements, number one is the predictability. Predictable revenue on every call. What predictable factor is present on every call? Dirt. It's predictable on every call. Even the demand calls. This eliminates the overselling by technicians when we understand that dirt is the predictability on every call. How many technicians are out there trying to make something out of nothing? If we could just teach them how to find the dirt, show them where the dirt is, present the dirt to the customer, that's the key. Okay? That's the same thing as showing the customer amp draws are high on a meter, frayed wires, low refrigerant, pitted contactors, flame rollout. All of those are visual things that we show the customer. Dirt on a wet towel or a baby wipe today, which is probably more practical, is the proof that we need to show the customer. Mrs. Jones, checked your system, everything looks fine except I found this, a dirty rag, whatever this is, right? All right. Motors are not predictable. Not a predictable factor on every call. Contactors, not a predictable factor on every call. Capacitors, not a predictable factor on every call. Anything else I can think of, no need to find anything. We don't want people to find anything, okay? It's not about going out trying to find something. We're going to do an evaluation. If something pops up, and John Conway says it right, if we notice something, we offer it. We don't notice nothing, we don't offer it. The predictability of what you can notice, though, is dirt. Dirt will always be present. It's predictable. It's predictable. How to change if you are doing this the wrong way. Change the way you're currently operating. Understand your nomenclature. Okay? Understand what you mean when you say system check. Understand what you mean when you say thorough evaluation of the system. Understand what you mean when you say explore step. I've actually did this past week. I asked owners, and I asked the managers, what does a system check mean? What does a thorough evaluation of the system mean? What does the explore step mean? They all gave me 3 different answers, which was nuts. Okay? Because it's the same thing. It's a marketing piece. Again, you can't call your customer and say, it's time for your explore step. It's a communication piece. The terminology we use is about communication. So we got to get clear on our communication with our employees and ourselves, right? So understand your nomenclature. Service check, system check, thorough evaluation of the entire system, the explore step. These are all the same things. 4 ways to say the same thing. Okay? Communicate the meaning of your words to your people. And then, I've even forgotten what this slide was about. If you're currently including cleanings in your service agreements, make sure you are selling at the right price. Okay? I can introduce you to Frank Blau. The price is the price. Work with your business coach to determine what is the right price for cleaning a complete system twice a year. And then believe in the process. Get out of this processionary ant, as Frank Blau used to call it. The blind leading the blind. Somebody goes walking down this path so other people are following them without having any understanding of what goes into the service agreement. And the whole reason behind the service agreement was to generate the predictable cash flow. The predictable cash flow, the cleaning piece that Ron Smith, I remember Ron Smith talked to me about this in 1992. He's saying, Jim, there's more gross profit dollars in cleaning revenue than there is in equipment replacement. So think about that. You're getting $200 a visit for cleaning. You do that for 15 years. That's $6,000 per customer. You replace the customer's system for $10,000 and you get a 50% gross margin. You get $5,000. There's more gross profit dollars in cleaning because there is no labor in the cleaning and no material in the cleaning. Now, people will argue with me on that, but I'll just say this. If you're currently not charging for your cleanings, okay, then you're giving that labor away right now. So you're currently doing it the wrong way. You're already giving that labor away, okay? Or if your guys aren't offering a cleaning, they're driving down the road being unproductive. So the only argument could be that little time period where they are actually doing the task time for the cleaning. You could be missing if you're currently doing it properly and you're not pricing it right. But otherwise, I'd say you're already giving it away, so it's not costing you anything. You're already paying for that today. The other piece is material cost. There is no material cost for cleanings. Okay, there might be some package wipes or something. It's an eyeglass cleaner. So there might be a little cost, maybe a couple 10 cents per call, okay, on cleanings. But for the most part, there's zero cost in the material for cleanings. So all of that money comes straight to gross margin, which automatically falls right down to net profit because you're already paying for your overhead right now. So this is additional net profit. And you think about this, the number of technicians, even if your guy was only bringing in $120,000 in cleanings, okay, and you had 5 of these guys, there's $600,000 that falls right to the bottom line, net profit a year. What's not to like about that? Okay? And this is the part that gets contractors from 2% net profit to 20% net profit. And even those guys that are at 20% net profit, because I'll tell you this, I got Bob Hamilton, Steve Essex, and Brian Craney, and Aiello. These guys, I started talking to these guys about it a couple years ago, and they're starting to gain traction on it. And we're starting to see their traction on their P&Ls happening too. So this is just something that I'm going to take fault for because I just assumed that contractors understood the service agreements. I'm a plumber that came into this industry and had no preconceptions about it. And therefore I was locked up with finding the right person to talk to, and that was Ron Smith. I feel blessed in many ways. I found Frank Blau. I found Ron Smith. Okay? 2 of the industry giants in what they do. And I just happened to be dumb enough to listen to both of them. Okay? And I really think that contractors out there have the blind leading the blind on this piece right now. And we need to change that. Just like Frank Blau changed people selling price habits to create the proper selling price. We need to help these guys. We need to guide them down the right path to do things. And I really see it as a big, guys are just out there shooting themselves in the foot the way they're pricing their service agreements today. I hear guys pricing service agreements for $250. and they're offering 2 cleanings. That's $125 a cleaning. Where 36 years ago they were getting $200 for it. Give me a break, man. I see guys doing it for far less than that too. Give me a break. I'm okay if a guy's charging the right price, but they're not charging the right price. They're kidding themselves. Okay, and that's the conversation I had with Ron Smith back in 1992. I said, Ron, I can't compete with these guys. I see where your pricing model is at $397 for offering 2 cleanings. In 92, in my town, they were offering cleanings for $149. I said, I won't get magnitude of scale here. I won't get the numbers I'm going to need. He says, what I will do though is I'll use your $99 bronze agreement and then charge for a cleaning a la carte each time. And that's how we went to market. And right now, that may be the only option that a lot of our members have to get scale of these agreements. But they need to understand that if they're being a commodity on the pricing of it, like the $99 for the system check, that does not include the cleaning. They need to charge for that cleaning and have a price for that cleaning. What I'm coaching currently is, because we were doing it for $75 a component, $75 for the condenser, $75 for the A-coil, and $75 for the furnace. So when I was doing all 3, I was getting $225. This is back in 92. And when I was just able to do 1, I was getting $150 for the furnace and the A-coil. But the A-coil always got cleaned with the furnace. But when I talked to the guys on pricing it, because I wanted them to clean the A-coil, as much air goes through that A-coil as goes through that blower compartment. Okay? So today, between the contractors, they're priced at anywhere from $100 a component to $150 a component. Okay? So, they're getting $300 to $450 when they're doing all 3, or they're getting $300 to $200 for doing just the 2 of them. They can't do the outside condensing unit. But anyways, I want to let you know that that's where I'm coming across coaching. This is the first attempt to get us to have dialogue about this, to get everybody on the same page. Yes, I'm passionate about it. I want to hear facts. And this is probably going to fly in the face of even some of our coaches that, maybe hadn't thought it through. And I'm not saying, and if you have thought it through, I want to hear about it. And just because that's the way we used to do it doesn't make it right. There has to be a legitimate reason, and numbers have to make the thing work out. So we have to cash flow this process. Service agreement is not a marketing tool only. Yes, it's a great marketing tool, but it's not a marketing tool only, because we can't starve for 15 years until the equipment's ready to be replaced. And if we are starving for 15 years, we are pushing it with our technicians to have them find something that really doesn't need to be found. And that's where we get in trouble, is by selling stuff that shouldn't be sold. So I'm going to leave it at that. I've already seen the clock hit 33:30, so I'm out.